Now, the United Nations has set today, the 21st of September, as the International Day of Peace. And we've invited UNDP Head of Governance and Gender Mainstreaming, Revai Makanje Olbeck, to discuss more on this. Revai, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Yvonne.
Now, to start off, what is the significance of the International Day of Peace?
The International Day of Peace is a very, very significant day in the UN calendar. Globally, International Day of Peace was established in 1981 by all member states of the United Nations to use it as an opportunity to commemorate and to remind the world over and everybody to say this is very, very important that we maintain peace. As you may already know, Yvonne, the United Nations was established for the very reason of preventing conflict, of ensuring that we live in harmony as a world and that we have peace, globally, within our own countries, within our own continents, within our own communities, and dare I say that also within our own homes. So for that particular reason, in 1945, when the United Nations was established immediately after the end of World War II, the whole point really was to say, let's find ways and mechanisms to save future generations, meaning all of us who came in after 1945, who were born after 1945, or who were alive after 1945 when the World War II ended, to ensure that there is no more conflict, to ensure that whenever there are signs that conflict will happen, preventative measures will be taken and be put in place. So you will notice that, for example, come to a country like Zimbabwe, when we were waging our own liberation war, and when we were going through periods of fighting against colonization, the United Nations was there to stand with the people of Zimbabwe. The United Nations was there to stand with the people of South Africa when they were fighting against apartheid. These are just a few examples to show the very reason for the existence of the United Nations, and then the very reason for establishing the 21st of September is the International Day of Peace.
It sounds like you're taking me through an international relations lecture. But anyway, what is Zimbabwe doing in order to celebrate the day?
To celebrate the day, for us coming in from the United Nations Development Program, we work with quite a number of partners, national partners. Of course, more importantly, we work with the government of Zimbabwe because we are here as a multilateral agency supporting government of Zimbabwe efforts for maintaining peace, ensuring that there is peace. So to commemorate the day for us, we are working with a number of organizations, including the Culture Fund of Zimbabwe, the Ecumenical Church Leaders Forum. We are working with building certain capacities of different youth organizations so that they are able to work at community level to foster peace, prevent conflict, as well as preach the message for peace. So just some of the events that are lined up. So today, maybe rather I should say over the past month, there have been a series of activities building and culminating onto this day. So working with our partner, the Culture Fund of Zimbabwe, we've run a series of radio programs mainly targeted at young people. I think, as you already know, young people are really the majority in the country. The young people hold our future, and for that reason, they have a big role to play in terms of fostering peace. So a series of radio programs has been going on. The last radio program is today at 12:30, which is being done at Star FM. So it's very important for the young people out there to listen and catch up on that particular program. In addition to that, tomorrow we are running what we call a social good summit.
Social good summit.
Absolutely, within the theme of the International Day for Peace. So we are inviting young people from different organizations to come to the National Gallery at 8 o'clock in the morning, where we shall put them as young people with innovative brains, with innovative minds, to come up with a diagnosis of what are some of the peace challenges, the conflict challenges that we face in our communities. And by the way, I keep emphasizing, it's about talking of peace within our homes, within our communities. We talk of cases of domestic violence.
Exactly.
It is about peace. We talk
Charity
about
begins
at home. We talk about conflict that happens within workplaces. It is about peace. Conflicts do happen within schools. Recently we had the case of a young man who killed. Those are some of very, very sad. So we are trying to foster the spirit of peace from a very young age, and young people have a big role to play. So for the Social Good Summit tomorrow at the National Art Gallery, it's important for young people to join and for the young people to be able to be given that opportunity in a pressure cooker kind of environment to come up with innovative ways of saying this is how, as young people, we have a role to play in terms of solutions for peace.
Now, Revai, this year's theme, Together for Peace, Respect, Safety and dignity for all. Can you briefly explain on this thing?
So basically what the United Nations is saying is together for peace. We are saying all the 193 members of the United Nations, everybody has a role to play. As you already know, right now globally, there are pockets where conflicts are happening. There are pockets like the recent cases that are being reported in the media from Myanmar, for example. Very, very sad,
those refugees.
exactly, very, very tragic. We have the young people from Africa crossing the Mediterranean, you know, risking their lives. We are talking about migrants, we are talking about refugees. There are certain push factors, some of which are conflict related, which we are saying we need together as all countries in the world to come together. First of all, to prevent that from happening. You will notice that the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, he has basically emphasized prevent. We prevent conflict, and where there is conflict, let's sustain where there is no conflict, let's sustain peace. So this is really the essence of the message. Let's give solidarity with those who are in conflict, and let's work with them to prevent and restore peace to those countries and to those communities.
And you raised a number of topical issues right there, you know, the chaos in Myanmar, the Rohingya refugees, how people are also trying to cross the Mediterranean for greener pastures. How does the UN propose to deal with such conflicts?
So basically through the SDGs, you will notice that in 2015 at the General Assembly, just like the one that is going on currently right now, in fact, it's very timely. As you know, world leaders are meeting in New York as we speak.
And are very honest speaking today.
Absolutely. So it's very important that we listen to those key messages that are coming through. So despite we know all the political grandstanding that happens by world leaders, but ultimately what they're talking about is world peace. Yes, there are all sorts of tensions, there are all sorts of conflicts, but as the United Nations, one of the key things that we are working around based on the SDGs, and in particular SDG 16, which is around building inclusive, peaceful societies, it's about prevention. Let's work through all the SDGs, prevent conflict, let's work around poverty, let's work around eliminating inequalities, because all those are breeding grounds for conflict. The moment we are able to build a world where the sustainable development goals are a reality, anchored in SDG 16, which is about building peace and inclusive societies, we will all be able as a world to move away from the current conflicts to one where we are living in peace and harmony.
Indeed, Mrs. Revai Makange Olbeck joining us in the studio, and she is the UNDP Head of Governance and Gender Mainstreaming, joining us in the studio and talking to us about the International Day of Peace, which was basically started on the 21st of September 1981 by all UN member states, and it is being celebrated by the all 193 member states of the United Nations. Revai, thank you so much for having joined us, and good morning, Zimbabwe.
Thank you very much.
And